Hidden away amongst the hills on the outskirts of pretty Bonnievale is what is locally known as the Plakkerskamp. This is one of many informal settlements in the Langeberg area. It has poor access to basic services such as running water, sanitation, and adequate waste disposal. The roads between the houses are deeply rutted water runaways, and in wet weather are virtually impassable. It was in this Bonnievale Plakkerskamp that the newly formed Animal Welfare Society, Animals Matter Langeberg, decided to begin its work. The team initially consisted of a retired veterinarian and one volunteer, who together walked through the camp, introducing themselves to the community and offering help and advice for their pets. There were many animals, including dogs, cats, chickens, goats, pigs, and cattle. Many of the animals were in different stages of neglect. Most obvious was the scourge of external parasites, including ticks, fleas, and mange mites. Breeding was ongoing, and although many of the offspring probably did not make it to adulthood due to the overburden of parasites, overpopulation and suffering was visibly evident. There is no veterinarian in Bonnievale. The nearest vet is in Robertson, more than 30 kilometers away. However, even if veterinary help were closer, many of the Plakkerskamp inhabitants earn barely enough to keep their own families fed, let alone afford veterinary fees. Some have no work at all. Despite this, pets are always obtained and brought home, and the dice is thrown as to their future. Many die due to neglect and lack of knowledge about primary health medications. Very few animals are fed the correct diet, with scraps from the table being the staple food. Those pets that are not chained scavenge for food and run the risk of irate members of the community throwing boiling water over them or stabbing them. Many of the animals were underweight. Many bore scars of previous injuries, such as bite wounds, fractures, and burns that were never attended to, but have healed, probably over a long, painful period of time. The two volunteers persevered with their mission. At times, communication was difficult, as some residents speak only isiXhosa. With the aid of pictures and actual demonstrations on their pets, understanding, trust, and respect was built up. After being skeptical and suspicious of our intentions, the residents have now accepted us, and we are greeted with warm smiles and waves whenever we enter the township. Up until now, we have sterilized just over 100 animals in the Plakkerskamp, treated as many and more with a long-acting external parasite remedy, inoculated and dewormed puppies and kittens, and provided pet food for those unable to buy it. The children and dogs now run to greet us when we enter, and we are followed during our rounds by happy, healthy dogs and children keen to help. Most satisfying is that owners of livestock are also approaching us for advice with any problems they encounter as emerging farmers. After 8 months of work, we feel satisfied that the small, underprivileged community in our area is understanding the benefits of primary health care and sterilization, and we feel confident that the pets will be better cared for in the future. We are continuing to monitor our fledgling area, but the need to move on was urgent. We began the same work in Mandela Square, another informal settlement and very poor area in Montague. We are fortunate to have much more support on the Montague side, so we were soon joined in the townships by Louise, Ellen, Renelle, and Tony. With this increased workforce, the number of pets we can help has doubled, and our work has spread to the so-called Iraq area of Ashbury. At first we relied on veterinarians who are authorized to run large sterilization campaigns to come out to the Langeberg area for a day and to sterilize 40 plus animals at a time. 4 of these mass sterilization campaigns were held, 1 in Bonnievale and 3 in Montague. They were successful, and altogether 175 animals were sterilized. Many thanks must go to Dancers for Dogs, Tracy Pace, Paws and Claws, and EnviroVet CVC for sponsoring these days, which are justifiably costly. However, the organization, transportation of pets, unreliability of owners, and the post-op recovery and aftercare of so many patients can be problematic and stressful. This problem was solved when our very own wonderful volunteer and veterinarian, Dr. Yvonne Robson, undertook to set up a community veterinary clinic at her home in order to assist AML. As stated earlier, Dr. Yvonne charges nothing for her services, so nearly every cent gained is spent solely to help the animals. At the time of this AGM, over 300 animals have been sterilized by Dr. Yvonne since the opening of her Langeberg CVC in January. We are indeed fortunate and very grateful to have such a dedicated veterinarian whose heart lies truly in the welfare of the less fortunate pets amongst us. Many thanks must also go to the dedicated volunteers who get up at crack of dawn every Tuesday in all weathers to collect the patients for sterilization, transport them to the clinic, assist all day, and then return the pets safely home in the evening. Tony, Renelle, Louise, and Yvonne Acorn, you are all stars. Special mention must be made of Jenny Kennedy, who has not only donated hugely financially to AML, but has also allowed us the use of her bakkie every Tuesday to transport Montague animals to and from the Ashton Clinic. Jenny has also allowed us to overnight some patients in her garage on very cold evenings, so that the danger of post-operative hypothermia and possible death is avoided. Many, many thanks, Jenny, for your support. Also, huge thanks to the donors of new carry crates for transport and overnighting patients: Valemount Traders, Tracy Pace, and Frans Maritz. As in the Plakkerskamp, external parasites are rife and visibly obvious in all areas of Montague. Those animals suffering from an overburden of ticks, fleas, and in particular mange mites showed definite signs of discomfort, depression, and weight loss. AML decided to specify a project to particularly address this problem. The Fight the Mite, Ditch the Itch campaign was initiated. Once again, our supporters came to the fore, and donations of long-acting anti-parasitic medication were received from Zoetis, Worldwide Veterinary Services, and Royal Canin. Many supporters also contributed financially. Thank you. The pictures show the results. During COVID lockdown, many families felt the pinch and finances were rock bottom. Donations of pet food poured into our society, and we were able to assist many pets that may have suffered or may have had to be given up by their owners. Over 2,000 kilograms of pet food was packaged and distributed to needy homes. We are truly grateful to our pet food donors: Ram, Tracy Pace, Emerald Gold, Inner Wheel Montague, Farhat Ahmad, Frans Maritz, and Robertson and Bonnievale Spas. Robertson and Bonnievale Spas continued to keep a food trolley outside their shops for food donations, which provides a steady supply for our needs. Thank you. We see the gratitude in the animals' eyes every time we visit our areas. Other donations that have been welcomed are dewormers from Royal Canin and MedPet, vaccines from Zoetis, various drugs and cleaning products from CVC and Claire Blackmore, and syringes, drapes, and other theatre equipment from Dr. Garth Schwechman and Leslie McLaughlin. The loan of an anesthetic machine by Dr. Helen McLean, and the monthly payment of our medical oxygen by Bruce Stewart. All essential and so gratefully received. Towards the end of 2019, an alarming enterprise, namely a battery hen egg production farm, was proposed in Robertson. AML supporters attended meetings and wrote many letters to the municipality against this extremely cruel method of food production. True champions in this fight were Wendy Buerta, Lee Haymans, and Phil Curtis, who walked the streets, organized petitions, contacted numerous authorities, and spent hours researching information to allow these little sentient beings the right to live a decent life. I am so very proud to report that their efforts were not in vain, and the instigators of the project withdrew their application on the grounds of such opposition. Thank you, Wendy, Lee, and Phil. You stuck your necks out against all odds, but your determination and tenacity won through. We hope this has made a few more people aware of the source of many of our cheaper food products. On the subject of education, Wendy Buerta has made significant inroads and persevered to have our voice heard in the schools. Since our inception, 5 schools and 3 libraries have been visited on 25 occasions, reaching over 2,000 children. Our work was halted with the onset of COVID, and it is doubtful that we shall be allowed back into the schools this year. However, as seen on the pictures, many children follow us in the townships, and so, in a way, our education continues. Thank you, Wendy, for your ongoing commitment. Work for any animal welfare society is ongoing, and we all realize that, no matter how hard we work, it will never be finished. We look back to our achievements to spur us on to the next step forward. There is a limit to how much we can do, and we only hope that we are making small steps of progress in paving a way to a better future for pets in our poorer communities. The support and donations received go a long way in boosting morals and keeping our society afloat and active. Again, many, many thanks to all the donors already mentioned, as well as to the following: Paws and Claws, Langeberg Municipality, Montague Market volunteers and supporters, organisers and supporters of our fundraisers, quiz evenings, Mutts March, Makiti Festival, Java MTB, Janine de Wet's art exhibition, donors to our Facebook market sales, Lee Elkington from YOLO Signs Worcester for free signage, Liz Griffiths, the Robertson United Church for overhead projectors and a laptop, and Louise van der Merwe for other teaching materials, all for education. Van Leeuweren for sponsoring our bright red AML shirts, and also Excelsior for wind cheaters, and a gazebo from Tracy Pace for our township clinic days. And of course, to everyone who has contributed in any way to help Animals Matter Langeberg launch from a small, uncertain beginning to a society that can stand proud among the true warriors for animal welfare.